Yes. This is a news agency that cannot release news on this matter. Good morning, Ackah-Blay. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to Imbure's in-law, Winston.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Hey.
You've not been asked any question, Imbura.
I've never encountered someone who is losing the race to be an in-law. Winston, we are firmly behind you. We support you in this bid. You will win. No sister formed against you shall prosper. No matter how nice her cooking is.
We'll see.
And I hear the cooking is very nice. Her inspirational song choice was also very good. Brought to us by Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows.
Well, let's get into our Drive Safe campaign, brought to us by Joy News and the Multimedia Group and supported by Toyota Superior Quality and Imperial General Assurance Solid Protection. So avoid all distractions, keep both eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel. Be visible, drive with your lights on at night, and that's how you drive safe.
Right, let's get ready to say it right. Brought to you by Kingdom Books. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
Something must be done.
You say either, I say either.
Let me ask you this. Do you say plat or plate? Well, it's spelled Plait, but it's pronounced plat in British English. The Americans, however, say plate. Some even say play. Personally, I believe English is the language of England, so I prefer to pronounce things their way, the proper way. Oh well, at least there's no confusion about the meaning of the word. It means a length of hair, rope, or other such material made up of 3 interlaced strands. There's no confusion about its origin either. It comes from the old French word plaire, which in turn comes from the Latin word plicare. Both words mean to fold. Now, I can sense a few of you are still torn between the British original and the American remix. You know what? From now on, just play it safe and say braid. That would also be saying it right.
Let's call the whole thing.
All right, well, there you go. Time for us to get into the newspapers, and the review is brought to you by First Atlantic Bank. Refreshingly different.
Right, let's start with a daily guide for today. And the big one says OSP probes Mahama over 14 million delegates bribe in quote. So the story, according to the daily guide, is that reports reaching the daily guide indicate that the special prosecutor is investigating John Dramani Mahama over allegations of bribery. According to the Daily Guide, Mr. Mahama paid about 14.2 million Ghana cedis to 355,092 delegates of the NDC in the party's recently held primaries, and the money, which was given under the guise of transportation, has been deemed as inducement and thus classified as a bribe by the special prosecutor due to Mr. Mahama's contest for the flag bearership position. So that's according to the Daily Guide this morning, that the OSP, according to reports, is investigating John Dramani Mahama over the 40 Ghana cedis he gave each delegate during the NDC's, presidential primaries. Now, also on the front page, handover car, court orders side chick. I'm sure we know that story. The court has ordered that the car be handed over to the registry of the court. And according to the Daily Guide, prior to that particular directive, the young lady, Deborah Dabla, was always driving that particular car to court. And the court has now ordered that she hands over the car to the registry and also warned both of them to desist from making comments on social media. That was after lawyers for Kwesi Nimako had, indicated that she was still on social media, particularly on TikTok, insulting, Kwesi Nimako. So the judge has advised them to desist from making those comments. And that's the judge is Justice Olivia Obeng-Owusu, who gave that particular advice.
In fact, before the order was issued, I'm told she actually drove the car to the court yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So it was I actually saw a photograph of the car, the premises of the law court complex yesterday. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't say this is an aspect of the law that I have learnt about, but if you're suing someone for something, and that thing is with you, what's your case?
I think that the ownership documents are not with her; they are with the man.
So
in fact, even initially, the documents that were filed, there was a point in time where she was complaining that the man had actually taken the car, and that she wanted it back.
And the car was given to her.
Yeah, yes,
but
clearly.
The case continues.
Continues, yeah.
Okay. Some say that this is actually an example, a localized example of a romance scam accusation.
Who has committed the scam in this instance?
Well, I mean, the accusation here is that promises were made to her.
Okay.
And that those promises were not fulfilled.
I see.
Which would kind of align with the idea of someone sitting at their computer in Ghana, chatting with a lonely elderly man in the US, making promises to them, I'll marry you, or we are married, and so forth. Send Momo, and then the Momo is sent, but you never get to benefit from this supposed marriage.
In the wake of this romance fraud discussion, I saw someone's post about the person was asking this question about say, oh, come. He said, okay, I'm coming. You send me Momo. Then he said Momo and you don't come. He said, if that one is romance fraud, dear Charlie, I've committed it. I saw it on Facebook.
People are confessing.
Well, let's continue. Let's continue. And still on the front page, Otunfo chases stolen Asante regalia in the UK. So he's been meeting with the British Museum and has indicated that, some of the artifacts from Asante, particularly from, the 1874 war. I mean, for many of you who read social studies, you'd have been told the Sagrenti War, traditionally be known as the Battle of Amoah, the Amoah Battle. So Otunfo and his team have been engaging their British counterparts, seeking to have these artifacts brought back, to Ghana and particularly to the Asantes. That'll be a good thing. I mean, yes, you want.
But there's a part of the story that says the museum. There's a museum at Menchia, which is also in a good state, and so the aim is that during there will be its anniversary. I think it's the anniversary. It's going to mark an anniversary shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they intend to have all those artifacts back at the Menchia Museum, which can also be a very good tourist destination.
They have to return it, so that shouldn't be a problem. Accra 2023 LOC visit games venue, and Leicester looks gone after Liverpool lost. Yeah, they look gone. I mean, 7 years ago they were league champions, and now they're going into the championship. Sad for Leicester City.
Let's do the front page of the Finder newspaper now. It has this story about Gayhawk. We gave you a bit of that on the 6 a.m. news. Gayhawk staff issued 3-day ultimatum for management to address their concerns. They say that there's a 300 million debt which has crippled the company. Dr. Kojo pays homage to late SG Anto, also on the front page. Airport company locks out GRA tax force. And Nigerian jailed 8 years for impersonating ex-CID boss to defraud people. That story is on page 10. We are told that the Accra Circuit Court has sentenced the Nigerian to 8 years imprisonment in hard labor for impersonating Commissioner of Police Mametiwa Adodankwa to defraud people.
Wow. Bright
Daniels, who at the time of committing the crime was a convicted prisoner at the Nsaum prisons, denied the offense. He was taken through a full trial and found culpable. Deputy Superintendent of Police Emmanuel Nyameche, giving the facts in court presided over by Mrs. Efio Wusua, said that the complainant was COP Mrs. Tiwa Adodankwa, a former CID boss who is now stationed at I think she's now at Yoko. Daniels, an ex-convict, is a Nigerian who served a 7-year jail term at Nsawam. So we are told that it's a fake Facebook Messenger account was created in a name and bearing a picture that was being used to solicit money from police personnel under the pretext of getting them slots to the United Nations and African Union missions in Somalia and Sudan. And so that is how the fraud was done. Cash was supposed to be sent to a particular number. One detective chief inspector paid The story is interesting. You know why it's interesting? Eh?
Why?
They are soliciting the bribe from the policemen, so the policemen also pay their bribe.
It's actually where I was going to get to. The fact that, look, it's good that he's been arrested, tried, and jailed. So it means he was given an opportunity, and the court found him guilty.
Yeah.
But why would policemen fall for such a scheme? It's something that we must investigate.
Yeah.
Is it the case that within the police service,
There's such a
before
scheme.
you go for these programs, you have to make payments? Is that the case? If it is not the case, how then did people fall for this particular scheme? It's worth investigating.
Yeah.
And, I mean, can the police be trusted to investigate itself? I am not sure. We should be investigating, this particular issue some more, and not just throw it away and say, oh, he's been jailed and that's the end of it. Why would you want to pay 10,000? Because you want to get onto a UN peacekeeping mission?
Yeah. 10,000 cities. Interesting.
I see. Anyway, let's get to the Daily Statesman for this morning, and talks about Jinapo assuring implementation of stakeholders report. So that's on the stakeholders dialogue on exploiting our natural resources responsibly and sustainably, which was held between the 11th and 12th of May 2023. So that was last week. That was a program organized by Graphic. Lots of recommendations here and there, and the minister is assuring that he would implement that particular report. 19,484 teachers received professional licenses nationwide, and Dr. Free Yakoto Estol's SG Antona Mahama taking to task over whimsical promises to deceive Ghanaians. And according to the Daily Statesman, a financial analyst Joe Jackson says it will be a Herculean task for the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress to restore operating licenses of banks which were collapsed under the cleanup exercise conducted by the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Mahama, delivering his speech, he had indicated that will restore indigenous Ghanaian investments in the finance and banking sector and will create a tier banking system that will serve various segments of the market. Now, questioning the feasibility of his promise, Joe Jackson stressed that the decision will somewhat be difficult due to the wave of challenges in the financial sector at the time, which called for the central bank's intervention to safeguard depositors' funds. He was speaking with the media and noted that the decision by the BOG remains justified despite some disagreement with the persons involved. Well, it's the catchphrase is as far as practicable. And one of the things we need to find out is what constitutes the as far as practicable. One of the things that Mr. Mahama must be explaining, it's not just about saying I would do this and then we go to sleep. No. So we are inviting the Mahama team to come and explain to us what they are going to do, what as far as practicable means, what measures have been put in place to ensure that they are able to deliver on that promise if elected.
Have they even done an analysis of the
that's what
entire
I'm
banking
asking for.
sector crisis and decided that, okay, we feel that these particular ones are the ones that we felt things didn't go right, and so for which reason this is what we intend to do with them, so that we don't have a situation where we are given the blueprint, like you said yesterday, about the 1D, 1F. We are told that every district will have one, then later on we'll see some one line in the manifesto to give the opportunity for private sector participation.
Yeah, of course. It's just like, because you see, the reality is that if you use the 1D, 1F, in all the conversations leading to the election, the NPP said we will build one factory in every district. And they actually did that, card that indicated the natural resources in every district.
Yeah.
Then when they came into office in the 2017 budget, promised 2 million Ghana cedis equity funding to every district. And in that same 2017, they asked every district to actually indicate 3 factories that they would want to be part of the 1D, 1F. That's also the government bearing in mind that sometimes you probably may not want to start a new factory, but you go for an existing factory that may be struggling, and then you help the factory. But when it became difficult to have factories in all districts, they found out in the manifesto that they said, we'll collaborate with the private sector to build a factory in every district. We'll collaborate with the private sector. It will be led by the private sector. So why are you saying that we promised and we have failed? We always told you that this was going to be private sector led. So what's the problem? I am saying that John Mahama must tell us, based on these analysis, based on, advice from so and so, this is what we intend to do. When we say as far as practicable, this is what we mean. Don't just leave it today and come back in 2025 if you win elections and say, I said as far as practicable, so it is not practicable.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, let's do some more stories on the front page of the New Crusading Guide now. It says NPP Superdelegates Blues, MP Baumia campaign team under siege. Kennedy Japan says VIP handlers don't have any message. That is on the NPP primaries. I saw a photograph on social media of some cars with the vice president's photograph on it. I think they were being told.
Some trucks.
Trucks. Yeah, trucks with the cars on top of it. Yeah.
Some people were raising questions about, how can a poor country be buying trucks? Although you have to understand if these are for a campaign, they're not being paid for by the country.
Yeah, another person to say we should send the photograph to the pensioner bondholders. But the MPP, they're supposed to open the primaries, I think on is this month.
Yes, 23rd or so. Yes,
this month.
Nominations will open this month. So once nominations are opened,
but the gap between the nomination period and the election is in November.
Yeah, it's about 6 months.
That's a lot.
Well, they're giving a chance to campaign and all because the NPP, feels that this could go into a super delegates because of the number so far that people who have indicated their willingness.
Are you for the super delegates?
Well, I mean, it's the party's constitution. Following the 17 who contested in 2007, the party decided in 2009 August at the Trade Fair Center that if the number is more than 5, you have super delegates that would vote and reduce the number to 5. Now, that's because the party felt at the time that the 17 members were actually part of the reasons why the party lost the election. I didn't think it was part of the reason the party lost the election. I mean, I sincerely do believe that.
I like the element of surprise. Like, we vote once, and, we are wondering who is winning, then Charlie announce the one person.
Yeah, because some have actually raised concerns that, they feel that the super delegates could be schemed in favor of somebody. They say, then let's end it. Let's end it.
Yeah.
This is an overwhelming endorsement. Let's end it.
Yeah.
So they just want, they would have preferred one. I know there are discussions to actually get others to step down. Well, let's get into the online news review.
It's brought to us by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy.
Now, looking for a bank that understands you and puts your financial needs first? Don't look too far. Zenith Bank is your bank of choice, and we have products tailor-made for you. So whether you're young, old, an entrepreneur, student, salaried worker, a corporate entity, an SME, a pensioner, Ghanaian resident abroad, or a foreigner resident in Ghana, at Zenith Bank, everyone can bank with us. Join the Zenith Bank family today for unrivaled banking experience. Talk to us on 0302-680884 or 0307-086370. Email us at info@zenithbank.com.gh. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
All right, now let's see what's online. Adapt a graduated approach to debt recovery. That's what government is telling PURC. There are other stories like this on myjoyonline.com. Go check them out. Right now, though, it's time for the BBC News, brought to you by Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
For decades.